I think social media is basically kind of like my resume as a builder because it shows what I can actually do, especially on the high caliber of taking it to SEMA and being able to be in the industry and talk with other businesswomen and other leaders in the industry.
Welcome to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, where we dive into the high-octane world of market-leading shop owners, shop employees, and automotive enthusiasts from the aftermarket, restoration, performance, and racing industries. So strap in as we take you on an awesome journey with our guests as they share their real-life stories, lessons learned, business advice, and unfiltered insights to help you beat the school of hard knocks. Gearheads and Gasoline, fueling your success.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barry Alt with Motorhead Digital. My co-host is Annette Bauer with Annette Bauer Creative. We're excited to welcome Chloe Yonker, the owner of CC Custom, to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast.
Woo-hoo. Well, welcome, Chloe. We're super excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're stoked.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, I have been a big follower of yours for a very long time, since I had my dually, which was quite a while ago now. I got rid of my dually a little bit more over a year ago, so I'm in the process of doing a different build now. And as such, like, just following your journey, not only what you do with builds, but just how you're so good within the automotive space. So I'm really excited to have you on the podcast. I'm really excited for you to share with our audience how you got into it and all those good things. But before we jump into all those things, we're going to start our podcast off with a very customary out of the box question. And that is, what is your favorite drink?
Oh gosh. Like alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
You can pick anything.
Well, alcoholic is mojitos. I love mojitos. Non-alcoholic is probably, we have like these flavored waters out here. I think they're called ices or something like that.
Yeah, we have
but I really like those. Those are probably my go-to if I don't need caffeine.
Right.
So
Right.
Caffeine's just like in my bloodstream at this point, so I don't consider it like a drink.
It's a necessity of life.
Oh yeah, it's like water. You gotta have both, or I'm not functioning.
I imagine so, with as much as you're working on, and I see you're doing stuff on, just what you share on social media. So I'm quite certain that you're very full of lots of things going on.
Oh yeah, it's like 3 full-time jobs. It's so fun.
No kidding.
Well, yeah, our producer's not here today, but his favorite drink's a mojito as well. He's a big
Oh,
mojito.
nice. So, I like it.
I didn't know that.
They're so refreshing. It's so good.
You're like, and delicious.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to slamming some of those in Mexico for sure.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about what has inspired you to pursue a career in the automotive industry. As I'd mentioned, you do lots of builds, truck builds to be specific, at CC Customs, but that isn't where you started, right? You started out in a different format in the automotive space. So can you bring us up to date as to how you got started?
So I started working at a Peterbilt dealership, and my start actually wasn't in the shop either. I was actually hired on to be a management intern, and I yeah, I don't like being technically behind the desk, which is so funny, actually running your own business now. Like 90% of your time is behind a desk.
Oh yeah.
It's different when you're working for yourself. But anyways, so I was hired on as a management intern, and I didn't like the whole slow pace being in sales. So then they switched me over to service and to like help with the service advisors and kind of get my feet wet in the door there. And I love that. I love that it was fast paced, but I really wanted something that was working with my hands. And I had only ever worked on my own truck. And so I didn't really have any like technical education, I guess, as far as like working on stuff goes. It's just more or less been self-taught or looking at something and figuring out how to fix it, because broke college kid, you got to do that. So that's just how my whole like start was. Like I didn't grow up in the shop with my dad. My dad didn't do his own oil changes or nothing like that. So
Okay.
I didn't get it from him. He's a financial advisor and I do all the work on his vehicle. But I didn't grow up with it, so I didn't get into it until a lot later because it wasn't until college. And so it's one thing I always try to really show people is like, hey, you can never start too late because I mean, I was in college when I started working on stuff and I would have never guessed where I am today. I mean, I am definitely jealous of those who grew up with the dad in the garage and the whole thing. Because, man, I wish I had that. But now it's cool because now it's almost flipped where now I get to be in my shop with my dad helping me with wraps. So it's just funny how life works. But yeah, everything started at a Peterbilt dealership. So I worked on big rigs and I loved it. It took a long time for me to convince my service manager to be able to let me even be in the shop. And so after like bugging him and bugging him, he's like, okay, we'll try you for 2 weeks because you won't shut up and leave
And
me
stop
alone.
bothering me.
Yes.
Okay, right?
Exactly. So after the 2 weeks turned into 3.5 years, and then I ended up leaving, and now I have my own shop.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
So that's
love
kind of
it.
like how it all started.
That is so cool. I know that so Barry, to kind of give you a little bit of backstory, honestly, there's been numerous times when I'll just go okay, what's Chloe doing? I need to see what she's working on. So I'll go to her page, and I learned so much by just watching some of the videos that she puts out about different things that she's fixing or changing or whatever on her truck or a customer's truck or whatever. But it's super cool to see a female in such a male dominated space, be very knowledgeable, be able to share that and articulate it well so that other females who have a little less or a lot less experience can understand what you're doing. I love that you kind of break it down so that everybody can understand, and you're using the terms that people who've been in this industry for a really long time obviously know what those terms are, but you also explain it for people who are learning so that they can figure out okay, I know what that part is and what it's supposed to do or how it's supposed to, so I super love that. Thank you.
So Chloe, you said, you're jealous of people that, because you didn't have a dad that worked on cars, right? My dad worked on his cars, and is any of your schooling for the space of working in that niche, auto mechanics, things like that, diesel tech, or did you just learn as you go working in the shop there?
So I don't actually have any formal certification for diesel mechanics, actually. Everything I've learned has been on the job training, which I was like a sponge and bugged the crap out of my mentors. I'm one that's okay, don't just show me how to do it. I want to know why. Because that's where you get the knowledge base from. Right. Is if you can understand why and how it works, then that way you can diagnose it, fix it, and so on. And how certain systems relate and coexist with each other to be able to make an engine run. So all that stuff I learned on the job. And then from there, after this was, I guess, last year. I'm one that's a sucker for education, especially with stuff that I can get my hands on, in job, hands-on training. So I looked at my local community college, and they had some diesel classes. And I was like, you know what? I never actually went to diesel school. Let's go see what it's about just because. And so I took a diesel engines 2 class, ended up loving the professor because she's also a woman. So that was really cool too. And so now I have her kind of on speed dial whenever I'm working on stuff. And hey, what do you think of this? Because I tried this, but she's the one that taught me how to blueprint engines and do like full rebuilds and stuff like that
Really?
I
Oh,
never
that's cool.
got a chance to do at the dealership. So
That's so
you
cool.
gotta keep learning, even though you think you might know some things, you don't know anything, honestly. So I
But
kind of went backwards and went back to school later.
well, that's important to continue your education, right? And getting a teacher that is going to dig into stuff deeper than just regular service type work, right? I took auto services in high school for 2 years, and we had a teacher that says we are not parts replacers. We diagnose the problem, we figure it out. If we can repair the part, right, take it apart and fix it instead of just replacing out a part, right? We do that, right? So understanding how everything works together is pretty cool. I want to ask you, this is, what inspired you to go off on your own? That's a scary deal, especially women have it harder. Annette knows that. We talk about it a lot, getting in this industry. So tell us about that.
So now that side of my dad, I definitely got because he's an entrepreneur. So I kind of just sat down with him and worked through finances and just kind of brainstormed, okay, what is my bottom line that I have to make to survive?
Yeah.
And kind of go from there. And so being that they have owned, my mom and my dad have owned their business for like the last 30 plus years, I had a really good support system in that of the entrepreneurship side. But the main income driven is social media. And so having that really kind of be able to float basically the shop until the shop can start generating income was a really big deal. So when I say I was working like 3 full-time jobs, I'm definitely not lying because full-time media is a full-time job.
Oh,
And then you have the
man.
shop and then at that time I was also traveling to shows and stuff too. So trying to do like the mix of all of it was kind of difficult, and of course, this all happened in 2020, which no one knew what was going on in 2020. So we were all just kind of thrown to the wolves and praying we got through it. So it worked out in the end, but in the midst of it, it was kind of scary. But now it's like I would never go back kind of thing.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, you brought up like the social media part of it. So, right, that's a really big part of building a brand, building your brand, and kind of making that switch from, hey, I'm going to have a steady paycheck at somebody else's responsibility. I just have to show up and do my part, to I'm going to take this all on myself. So, what role has marketing, specifically, like you said, like the digital marketing, social media element, played in your brand's identity and success?
So I think social media is basically kind of like my resume as a builder because it shows what I can actually do, especially on the high caliber of taking it to SEMA and being able to be in the industry and talk with other businesswomen and other leaders in the industry and really just kind of like put my own name, like plain as day, out there kind of a thing, and be able to showcase what I can do on essentially the world's platform because social media is worldwide. And it's crazy to me how I'll have people from Mexico and come up to me at SEMA and in Spanish, and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what you just said. But it's like, that's like so crazy to me is like, even with a language barrier, they can still watch and consume my media and kind of understand what's going on because we all have the same shared passion of anything with an engine. I love that is kind of really cool that you don't have to just speak English to know what's going on essentially. You can just watch it, So that's really cool, and I love that.
Have you gotten work from people just seeing you on social media and calling you up and contacting you or messaging you and said, hey, we saw you do this. Can you help us with our stuff?
Absolutely. All the time. I think probably 80% of my rap vinyl quotes come from Snapchat.
Really?
Snapchat, really?
Of all places.
I'm surprised.
It's insane. I don't know why, but it is. So I'm like, dang, that's a whole other random like platform that you would never really think of.
Right.
But yeah, like 80% of my vinyl quotes that I get are on Snapchat. And I don't know if it's because I just post like daily updates of everything I do on that platform. and right now I'm doing a wrap. So of course that's like a lot of the main focus.
Yeah.
Whereas I have noticed that depending on what I'm posting generates the most inquiries based on that. Like for instance, when I did the big 15-inch lift kit. Now I know a lot of people aren't looking for a 15-inch lift kit in their life, but for those that are, they saw that I can do that. So now that's another thing added to like the toolbox essentially.
Right.
So being able to showcase what you can do is just another way of showing, hey, I can do this for others, basically.
Yeah, trust me, if I live closer to you, I would 100% be like, Chloe, I need you to do some stuff for me. Girl, let's work together because
I think somebody just got a bed full of stuff, or I saw a whole bunch of stuff going in the bed of your truck the other day.
Yeah, I just took my lift and my wheels to our powder coater up here day before yesterday. So hopefully I'll should have those back in about a week or two, and then I can start getting to the next level of my build.
Nice.
Hey guys, Jason here with AMD, and you're watching the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast. Check this out.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't do. I don't do powder coating yet, but that's because the startup equipment is so expensive.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's a very labor intensive process, right? It's not like it's just, hey, I mean, it's like having a paint booth, right? Like paint booths are very labor intensive as well. That's one of the things that I talk about all the time. I know Barry also is a big proponent of this, is that in order for you to have success and gain success, you have to make investments in your business, right? You have to make investments in yourself. If you're not willing to do that, you can't expect others to make an investment in you. Right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And starting out and stuff, even businesses that have been around a while, they find really good partners for things like that, for powder coating and other paint services. Powder coating and paint booths, you have EPA requirements, environmental stuff that actually adds to the cost as well, right? But as you grow your business, we've seen it, they bring it in-house, right? It comes to a point where, look, it's just going to be more efficient for us to bring it in-house. And also, you don't want to go do something too soon and put all that investment and find out, we're going to go in another direction, and you have all this equipment you're not going to use, right? So we've seen that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like this close to buying an oven on Facebook Marketplace just to do small stuff because I know how I am, especially because, like you said, in-house where you're like, oh, I need this done like right now. I am a person that is like, I'm doing it right now. I'll put that in the microwave if I have to. Like it's
okay, I had to see that.
That's awesome. I love it.
People at home do not do that. Metal parts in microwaves.
You're right. Not recommended.
But there's a lot of shops, performance shops and stuff, but they're investing in 3D printing and things like that.
Oh,
so they can 3D print stuff and test it out before they actually build the part, right?
That's so smart. Huge. Yeah. I follow, I don't know if y'all follow Brad DeBerti, but I met him at SEMA, I think it was 2 years ago, but I have followed him for a long time, and I love how cutting edge stuff that he kind of does. And I saw that when he was building his Lincoln, he made the whole body kit out of cardboard. And I was like, see, I would have never thought to like try to play out what you're trying to build with cardboard. So just little things like that. Like you had said, the 3D printing, that is a huge cost-effective way. I mean, if you buy a 3D printer, obviously that's the biggest cost, but that's cheaper than going out and machining all these parts that you're trying to figure out if they work or not. So on the fabrication side, I'm just amazed by people and their brains of how they just look at something and like, okay, we need to make it like this to make it work. And I'm just
we had a fabricator on last week, Kyle Kunhausen, and he does a lot of stuff in cardboard first, 3D printing, and he sends it out, or AutoCAD, things like that, but he sends it to a company called Sun Cut Send, and they take what he's envisioned, but he envisions it first, right? And then moves it over to the computer and then sends it off and gets it back and, fabricates it and everything. A lot of fabricators are doing things like that.
I mean, that's part of it, right? Like that's part of the game of being in this industry, not only from like a perspective of where you come, Chloe, where you're like, hey, I'm actually doing tangible work. I'm putting my hands on, trucks or builds or whatever it might be, wraps, whatnot. And even those that are in the creative side where we're building content, which you're also doing, but like we don't actually put our hands on automotive stuff in some cases, right? So in those two realms, it's super important for all of us to be able to tap into other creatives and other builders, fabricators, people within this space to help inspire us and give us ideas and push us to the next level of like, hey, we can, do this. And I never thought that you could build something by like kind of mocking it up in cardboard first, but just like you said, wow, I mean, that's super helpful and super cost effective.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Some,
We do
some,
that a lot with
some of those
brackets.
things are, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying we do that a lot with brackets. We're on really small parts, but you start small to be able to do big. So
that's it.
There's other guys using wood, right? They're using wood to mock up stuff first before they transfer that to metal or other materials, right? But I understand you had a show truck or a vehicle at SEMA.
She's had lots of trucks at SEMA.
Yeah, we've had quite a few. We've been going there as a shop and as a builder since 21. So the first one we did was a Jeep Gladiator, and that was my fiance's Jeep. And if you are not a Jeep fan, such as myself at first, stock Gladiators. I was so happy to finally be able to build that because
I don't blame you. I've driven a stock one and it is a poor excuse for a vehicle in my opinion.
The second we put 42-inch boggers on it, then I changed my tune. But until then, it was like, woof, this thing is so wimpy looking. So
I'm a Jeep fan too, but my wife's not. So every time I'm at SEMA, I gravitate to a lot of the Jeeps that are outside and things like that. And I had a friend of mine that just bought a Jeep, and I'm jealous. So
I love the Jeeps, but they have to be built. I think there's
absolutely
stock Jeeps that are just so weird looking to me. Like they've got to be built because that's what gives them like the meat and the substance,
What gives
I'm
them
a
character?
mean kind of girl. Give me some tread on them tires, guys. I can't deal. I can't do the donuts. No, meat and potato. That is my jam. So I am a boggers girl for sure.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Annette Bauer Creative. At Annette Bauer Creative, we understand the power of visual storytelling in transforming brands and driving growth. From capturing the essence of your products and services to showcasing the unique solutions you offer, our professional imagery and reels help bring your brand to life. Fuel your brand and ignite your vision at AnnetteBauerCreative.com.
The last build that she did, Barry, I don't know if you saw it, was this super cool like camo, like pink, gray, white camo wrapped. It was just so beautiful and so cool and so big. I was like, I want my truck to look like that.
was it at SEMA?
Yes. So
I'm sure I have a picture.
Yeah, it was at SEMA. It was at SEMA and the TIS Wheels booth. And the owner's actually my college roommate.
Really?
So she's my best friend. We met in college. And she lives in Tennessee now, but she used to live here in Texas with me. But I took her to Lone Star Throwdown, which is a show in like just north of Houston. And her first show, I think, was in probably 21 or 19, something. It was a couple years ago. But anyways, I took her to that show. She saw a lifted Chevy that was on an 18-inch lift kit and instantly was like, I want that truck. And I was like, I can build you that truck.
But what? Wait, what?
But the way my finances are, no, I'm just kidding. But for real, later on down the line, she ended up trading in her old truck to a 2024 GMC Denali. So she bought that truck, and I was like, okay, hear me out. If you want to take this to SEMA, this is your year to do it because that's a brand spanking new truck. You're going to get the best bang for your buck with a new truck like that. because having that newest model, all of the manufacturers are rolling out with their new products for that model.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, dude, if you want to do it, we got to do it now. And she's like, say less, it's finally time. And I'm like, I hope your bank account is ready because I'm ready. So let's just go. And so it was really cool to be able to bring her alongside as well and teach her a lot of stuff as well. She had never wrapped anything before and or just used power tools before to be fair. So trying to teach her how to like do stuff on her own vehicle and completely gut her entire interior and everything else in the exterior. It was a lot more in depth than what most people do with their vehicle, but you get a sense of what it's all about, especially when you're taking off plastic pieces and figuring and knowing that, okay, this $100,000 vehicle is just a bunch of plastic all together with clips. That is terrifying. But
Did she freak out when you started pulling
oh
apart
yeah,
a brand new vehicle?
it was awesome, especially because it's that like morbid sound of it like popping off, and you're like, please tell me that didn't crack. But it's a lot of that. So you're just like, okay. But I showed her how to use the tools, like the trim tools, pop everything out, and then I label everything. Because it's so much easier and faster when you're going back together with something about a month or two later. Just grab the little baggie. Okay, that's for that part, instead of trying to remember or figure out where it went. So
100%.
A little time in the
watching,
beginning, a lot of time.
Yeah. I'm tearing about my Corvette, my 69 Corvette now, and I bag and tag everything and do an interior and a radio and stuff like that. But I saw a YouTube video the other day, and I didn't have the numbers exactly right, I'm sure, but back in the 60s, there was like 10,000 parts that went into a car. Now it's like 30.
Oh, easily. I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, I will say,
especially
like,
all of the trim pieces.
Yeah, like I have this like heart palpitation because my husband helps me, and I have this heart palpitation of every time he's like, we got this, we can take it apart. And I'm like, because like he's a mechanic for a living, like that's what he does, and he's actually the one who taught me how to do a lot of the different things that I work on purpose-built race cars, as well as learning how to do the things on my truck. So like I got to really learn when I did my dually, and now going into this one, like I got rid of my dually because I couldn't make my dually. Well, I could, but it's also my daily driver, so I had to be practical. I couldn't make my dually as big as I wanted it to, so I bought a single rear wheel, and I was like, okay, now I can make it bigger, within my budget, of course. But my husband teaches me all of these things, and 100% what you said is like every time he was like, I'll just take it apart, I'm like,
I can take anything apart. It's the putting it back together. Sometimes it's like, I don't remember where this goes. That's always the scary part.
Well, we just recently, we took the ball joint out of my upper control arm, and when he was like helping me with it, it bent, and I looked at him and he was like, I'll replace it.
Gosh.
Yeah, thanks for breaking my brand new truck.
Exactly.
Chloe, how did being at SEMA multiple years, how'd that impact your business and things like that?
The first year I think was really kind of like the I made it kind of feeling in year, because that was when I was able to actually prove that what I was saying was happening. So that opened a lot of doors, especially for manufacturers and brands in the industry. There were a couple when I had first started that didn't really believe in me, I guess, as a woman. And so I take that to heart very much. And I remember that very much so. And so I'm very loyal to the brands and companies that have stood behind me since day one TIS wheels got us out of the jam when our wheel sponsor didn't come through the first year, and our wheels were sitting on a ship somewhere in the middle of the ocean. So TIS was able to get us wheels, get us to SEMA, and we have been with them ever since.
I love it.
Another one is Hammerhead Armor. That's our bumper sponsor. They're made in America. That's another big one that I love. I love that family-owned kind of started businesses like Skyjacker. I just love how the American dream in the automotive industry, but then they also, I guess, believe in me from the get-go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the ones that I really appreciate and try to reciprocate the love and attention to them as well. Being that was kind of the year that spearheaded it. After that, we did a Jeep Wrangler for my dad because he saw me build the Gladiator for my fiance and was like, wow, I want something cool now too. So I was like,
The financial
okay,
guys get in the vehicles, huh?
Right?
Yeah. And that's what started it all. And so then I built them a Jeep Wrangler. It went to SEMA in 22. We took a single cab dually, a Ram TRX, and then that same Wrangler with a different wrap and in 23. And then last year we took that 24 GMC Sierra. So every year is kind of growing. Will I ever do 3 builds again for SEMA by myself? Probably not, because that was not a fun time. It's not a fun time. But
you're like, sleep was non-existent.
Oh, yes.
I can't imagine. That's just insane because, 1 year we spoke at SEMA two different sessions back to back, and just getting ready for that, it was insane. I can't imagine doing 3 builds and just all the logistics of that.
It was rough.
Just the like, for lack of a better term, right? The man hours and doing it. Like, it's one thing for you to do the plan out and be like, okay, we know that ideally this is what this is going to look like, what the theme is, or, what parts we need. But it's the physicality of actually getting that stuff done is just yikes.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Motorhead Digital. Motorhead Digital are digital marketing experts for your automotive aftermarket, restoration, performance, race, and restyling shop. They help you supercharge your shop's website, social media, and entire online presence to attract those badass customers you're looking for. Check us out at motorheaddigital.com.
It's not just the done. The hard part about SEMA is I start planning in January.
Yeah.
And we start the logistical process in first quarter because we have to. There's no way around it. I'm only one person.
Right.
So between build managing and connecting to all of the sponsors or whatever, sourcing all the parts. And then, so not only am I doing the administrative side, but then I turn around and actually have to do the labor and build it too.
Yeah.
So when we finally get parts rolling, the other side of it is a lot of things you don't want to do over twice. So for instance, lighting and stuff, it's easier to do when the vehicle's already torn apart. You don't want to tear everything apart, put it all back together. But for instance, on the GMC, I was not about to do a headliner and all of the interior upholstery when it's lifted 15 inches in the air. That's just that's not okay. So there are like
she did real quick. So Barry, she did a and I know I'm not going to use the right term here, but like the whole headliner had like little twinkle stars in it. Like it looks so cool, but it's so time consuming.
I saw a video of somebody doing that. I'm like, holy cow, that's a lot of work.
Yes. Yeah, I think I don't know what the total is. I think it's like 46 to 50 hours in the headliner alone.
Oh my gosh.
That's between taking it out, because you got to pull the windshield, you got to pull everything out of the interior anyway, which I was doing upholstery and all the seats anyway, so everything was stripped out. Yeah. But you got to remove the windshield, pull the headliner, and then we reupholstered it in this glitter, like black glitter fabric. And so that's another one. Everyone does suede. I wanted to do something different. And I'm like, hey, I know she'd be down because she's a girly girl. She wants a whole pink truck. Let's just give her all the girly stuff she could possibly get. So we did a glitter fabric, reupholstered that, and then we did 1,500 starlights with the shooting stars in the headliner and the sunshade for the sunroof.
Oh my gosh. We know you don't want to miss an episode, so don't forget to smash that bell so that you get notified of every new episode. Click that like button, leave us a comment, and share with your people. And visit us repeatedly. We love it.